Happy February. I hope the beginning of the month has treated you well. I'm going to dive right in really quickly into a topic that might at first seem just monumental, and that is the topic of behavior in general, of anyone, anywhere, ever. Seems like a lot, but there is a philosophical baseline model that I've developed that really informs, that's really the cornerstone of my ministry efforts, my care efforts, that I want to share just because I know in the future there's going to be conversations, going to be questions that are like, Travis, this is difficult. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle this. What path should I take? And I'm going to be sharing videos where I talk about certain contexts and situations and how to handle them and walk through those spaces. And there's a lot of just, like most of the conversations will be on behavior, doing the right thing, doing the wrong thing, right? And I want to share my baseline just understanding of behavior, what we do and why we do it, to kind of set a language moving forward into those spaces. And before I get into that model, I just want to recognize how big of a topic that is. Behavior and the debate over proper behavior has written the history of humanity. Nations and people groups have warred and clashed over which legal system to implement, which faith tradition, holds proper morality. And there's these conversations over right and wrong and good versus evil, what we should do, what we shouldn't do. And it fuels so much of the interpersonal conflict and even internal conflict that we experience in our lives. And if we don't know how to actually talk about and perceive proper behavior in the right light, it can easily derail us in those efforts. So, yeah, again, society level, you have legal systems. In the house, you have curfews and meal times, and should I wear my shoes in the house or not? Is there a limit to how many video game hours I can put in? In the workplace, we have safety policies and performance reviews and codes of conduct, right? Society is built on frameworks of institutionalized behavior, proper behavior. And we say those who exhibit bad behavior are breaking the rules, good behavior are following the rules, right? Bad, good. And it's this binary system. And I want to challenge that binary system. And it's not just what we do, but why we're doing it that actually indicates how mature we are in our behavioral efforts. And with that, my model, I call it the 3 C's. You have criminality, compliance, and character, right? Criminality and compliance, what we've already been talking about. Criminality, there are people that even though there's laws against stealing will steal. Kids that even though there's a curfew will show up late. Employees that even though there's safety procedures won't wear their hard hat. And there's going to be consequences. The employee might get fired, the kid might get grounded, the thief might go to prison, right? Then you have people that follow the rules. They don't steal, they don't X, Y, or Z, right? But oftentimes the only reason that they do the right thing is for fear of the consequence. And if we stop there, we only have people that are dictated by their self-control, right? And their foresight into is the consequence worth it. Because then you have people that when the police aren't around will break the rules, right? When dad's not looking, I'll do what I want, right? Are they actually good, or are they taking care of themselves, watching, covering their butt, right? We need to move to that place of character, because in reality there are people who, even if there were no laws against stealing, would not steal. Even if there were no curfew, would come home at a reasonable time. If there was no limit to how much they could play video games, they'd realize, oh, I've played a couple hours, I've been overindulging, I should do something different, right? You have people that even if there wasn't a monthly safety meeting, would do everything in their power to create a safe environment for the protection of them and their coworkers, right? And these two can look very similar. They're both exhibiting good behavior, doing the right thing, but these people are doing it for themselves, these people are doing it for others and for the sake of the virtue of the behavior itself. And me, my degree is in it is criminal justice, that's my undergrad. My master's degree is in transformational leadership. And yeah, I want to see people behave, but I want to see people grow, to mature, to change, to transform, right? And because this will take care of their behavior in the moment, this will prepare them for the future. A kid will get through high school, will do all the right things and stay out of trouble while in the household, but as soon as the threat of grounding or consequences removed, they're left to their own devices, they might just return to doing stupid things, right? You want to see a kid grow into a full, mature, self-regulating adult, productive, passionate, right? Same thing within the society. You don't just want law-abiding citizens, you want to create a community. You want culture, you want a culture of care. You, in a workplace, you want not just people who work for a paycheck and do what they can to not get fired, but people who actually embrace the vision and the mission of the service or product or whatever the business model is, right? And if we stop here, we have people doing the bare minimum to protect themselves. These people actually embrace the good and the reasoning, the why behind what we're doing. And so I just really want to address that, because when I speak in the future, it's always going to be about changing and about character and about growth and about values and virtues rather than behaviors. Because the behaviors are a tool to get us on that road when we see the benefit of the good behavior, that we learn to value the good behavior. And yeah, I just want to put that out there to just set a baseline. And also, I wore my lion shirt again as a callback to the last video, because it's even more it's powerful when we try to influence people rather than control people. When we try to set an example rather than coerce, so that we can grow people, develop people, and mentor people rather than boss people around. Whether that's other people or ourselves, right? Sometimes we can hammer ourselves into certain behaviors, but we're not actually changing, and it's just miserable, right? My dad never threatened me or gave me a consequence when I wasn't humble. He didn't yell at me if I celebrated. But his walking in his own humility and his own celebration of Barry Sanders' humility and everything made me want to value humility. It made me, now again, we discussed how there was negative factors in there, but still the influence was real, and it was way more powerful than any coercive compliance measures he could have imposed in that regard. Yeah, many times he would implement compliance measures that I was like, oh, I'm about to break that, and for the sake of the compliance measures. So I want us to think about influence and think about growth and maturity and long-term development rather than what should I do in this moment, and move past that. So appreciate you all. I'm looking forward to coming around and seeing you, and I hope you have a great week. Thanks again.